So ADA as of late has been on an uptrend, and you can see that we ended up breaching past the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA. And we did see a pullback, but then we managed to find support at the 200 EMA, which was a bullish signal. And we then saw a reversal where we ended up breaching past the previous swing high at 86.42 cents. And previously, I've talked about how I've been tracking a deeper corrective move to the downside made up of a WXY structure. And I mentioned how I was tracking the wave Y, which had the potential to tap into this range between 68 cents to 73 cents. And within this Y wave, I was tracking a 5-hour structure to the downside. And I mentioned how we could have one of two scenarios that were playing out, with one of which being that this 5-hour structure could then tap into this range between 72 cents to 74 cents. And the other scenario was for the third wave to have bottomed out over here, and for the fourth wave to have topped off over here, and the fifth wave to have bottomed out over here. And in my previous update, I mentioned how I was tracking a WXY structure to the upside, and I set out the Y wave to tap into this range between 80 cents to 81.77 cents. And you can see that we ended up tapping into that range, and then we got rejected, which then led to this deep move to the downside, where we ended up breaching past the wave W, or the wave X origin, which sits at 79.64 cents. And so given that we ended up breaching past this level, that then confirmed that we had a WXY structure. And so zooming out slightly, I would be careful about being ultra bullish, because we still need further confirmation as things stand at the moment. And so very quickly, if I was to bring in the Fib tool and bring this to 77.81 cents. And so as of right now, what we are forming right now is a bigger WXY structure, where this move here was the W wave, this move to the downside was X wave, and this move was the Y wave. So zooming in, the Y wave would typically reach anywhere between 1 to 1.226. And you can see that we ended up exceeding the typical range for the Y wave, but we failed to retrace towards the 1.6 minute level. And so as of right now, during the time of recording, what we are forming right now is a corrective move as opposed to an impulsive move. And so if we fail to retrace towards this level, we could have one of two scenarios play out, where we could see a bigger pullback, where we even breach past the local low, and we could then tap into this range. Or alternatively, we could have a bigger WXY structure that's forming, where this move would form the W wave, and we could see a move to the downside to form the X wave, and we could then see a reversal to the upside, where we can then begin to track the wave Y. And it is also worth noting that we ended up breaching past this level here, which is the wave 1 or the wave 2 origin, at 85.24 cents. So given that we ended up exceeding this level, that then discounts this 5-hour structure from playing out, where the fifth wave could tap into this range. And reason being is because in Elliott Wave Theory, what you can't have is the wave 4 cross the wave 1 or the wave 2 origin. And so it looks like what ended up playing out was the wave 3 bottomed off over here, and the wave 4 topped off over here, and the fifth wave ended up bottoming out at 75.42 cents. And if we were to have this bigger WXY structure that played out, this X wave would typically retrace anywhere between 50% to 88.2% of the wave W. So if I was to bring in the Fib tool and bring this to over here, so what you can see is it has the potential to reach anywhere between 76.78 cents to around 81.37 cents. And the minimum requirement for the X wave is the 23.6% retracer level, which sits at 84.69 cents. So yeah, if we were to see this pullback, then I will be looking out for that reversal to the upside, where we can then begin to track the wave Y. And you can see that there is going to be some resistance within this range, given that there are some sell order blocks, and so people will be looking to take some profits. And looking at the stochastic RSI on the 4-hour chart, we are within the overbought conditions. And so it's very much possible that the bears regain momentum and drive the price of ADA down towards lower lows. And historically speaking, whenever we have been within the overbought conditions, we have seen a pullback, such as over here. And the same can be said over here, where we saw this pullback. And again, the same can be said over here, where we saw this pullback. And so, yeah, it's very much possible that we see a pullback from here on out. And if that's the case, then there are some key levels to be keeping an eye on. with the first one being the 200 DMA. If you fail to find support at the 200 DMA, then the next key level to be keeping an eye on will be the 50 MA. And if you fail to find support at the 50 MA, then it's very much possible that we could have the X wave playing out, given that it's possible that we then breach past the wave W or the wave X origin. And if I go in the 8-hour chart, the same can be said where we are within the overbought conditions. And so again, it's very much possible that the bears regain momentum. And the last time that we were within the overbought conditions, we did see a pullback. And so, yeah, we'll still need some further confirmation that we are on a bullish trend. If ADA was to retrace towards the 1.618 level, that could then signal that we are on a bullish trend and we could see high highs. However, if we fail to retrace towards that level, then it's very much possible that we see a deeper move to the downside, where we could have one or two scenarios playing out, with one of which being a bigger WX fast structure forming, or the other scenario could be that we see a deeper move to the downside, where we then breach past the local low, and ADA could then potentially even tap into this range here. But of course, that's something I'm going to be tracking in the days and weeks to come, and I'll be keeping you guys updated. And so, yeah, that's a smart update on Cardano and ADA. Hopefully you found this useful, and if you did, then feel free to hit that like button, and if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.